Hi there, it's Rob Sinclair from Conscious Brands, and I have the honor today to be interviewing Yebuny Johnson from Dharma Merchants. And Yebuny will be coming up to Calgary, Edmonton and Nelson at the end of April, early May, and facilitating sacred commerce. Hey Yebuny, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Rob. So happy to be here. Thanks. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. So, okay, I want to ask you a couple questions about sacred commerce, but before I do that, I just like to ask you how you got into sacred commerce. It's such an amazing journey I hear from people, and I don't think I've fully heard yours.
Thanks, Rob. That's a great question. Basically, I found myself in San Francisco about 5.5 years ago, and I actually just intended to visit, but I met the people at Cafe Gratitude, started working there. I was actually traveling for the summer, and I completely fell in love with the culture and the business model of sacred commerce, and just decided that this was where I needed to be, and I stayed for 5 years. And then I slowly transitioned from Cafe Gratitude to Dharma Merchant Services because I was curious about whether this model, sacred commerce, would actually work in a different business setting. So Cafe Gratitude in the United States is, a restaurant. It's a raw vegan cafe. Dharma Merchant Services, where I work now, is a financial business. So I was curious to see if it worked in both, and it turns out it does.
So what is sacred commerce?
Another great question, Rob. Matthew and Tierces Engelhardt, the creators of the business model Sacred Commerce and owners of Cafe Gratitude, say that sacred commerce is the preposterous notion that business can be a place of awakening. So in a nutshell, what that means is that sacred commerce is a place where we can actually practice higher virtues within a work setting. And we've found this to be phenomenal for productivity as well as quality of life for employees and staff. I want to say one thing about the word sacred. Sacred commerce is actually not a religious notion. It's really just the notion of what happens when we actually all put our attention together in a working, collaborative environment, if we all put our attention on love and awakening.
Wow. Yeah, and what's the experience been? Like, what does love and awakening look like at a raw food restaurant versus love and awakening at a merchant services organization?
That's interesting. It looks pretty much the same. Because the neat thing about sacred commerce is that it focuses on the culture of human resources. The idea that our greatest resources are actually ourselves. So in both environments, you have employers and coworkers focusing on how can I make my life and my coworkers and my employers' lives great. And the way that that happens is by continually bringing it back to the present moment, which Sacred Commerce says is the only real place we have any power to create anything. So if you can think about what usually happens in a day, a lot of businesses say, leave your baggage at home. Sacred Commerce says, bring it, bring it. This is actually our work, is to look at what gets in the way of us being present. And when we can actually come back, continually come back to the present moment, we find that when we're present, we create and we innovate, and magic happens because our whole presence is caught up in that moment.
So this is kind of counterintuitive to what you would think, because if I have problems at home, I should leave those problems at home so it doesn't affect my work. But what I hear you say is that, no, I should bring my problems from home and deal with them because it's going to make me more present and more efficient and effective at work.
That's the idea. Yeah, very well.
That is a preposterous notion.
It is. But when you think about it, we bring our problems everywhere we go anyway, right? If I have had a fight with my partner, for example, and I come to work, that's going to be on my mind regardless of whether I bring it up. So Sacred Commerce says, let's just address it. Life is life, regardless of where you are. We work, the majority of our waking hours are spent at work. So why not make that time a time to address who we are in our entirety? We're physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings.
Right.
And it's amazing when we focus on that as our humanity instead of just, the mental part of ourselves. What happens? What's created?
So have you noticed this, this awakening, this presencing that's happening at work? Like, how do people take that home with them? Do they, is it contagious, love and awakening?
It turns out that yes, it is. Exactly. Yeah, it's so funny, Rob. What happens is that we get the jolt, the energetic jolt from getting to practice being present at work, and it just trickles into the rest of our lives. Like I said, Sacred Commerce doesn't really distinguish between our personal life and our professional life, with which a lot of professionals would say, don't, cut that out. No, that's a bad idea. But it turns out that, it enhances the quality of our whole life by focusing on presence in the workplace.
So how receptive? I mean, you walked into Cafe Gratitude and they were already practicing this, so you were able to kind of go and practice it with them. Going to Dharma Merchants, how open and receptive were not only the owners, but the employees once you started implementing Sacred Commerce?
Well, first of all, Dharma is a Sanskrit word that means right intention, right action, and right livelihood. So Dharma was already in line with the idea, much like the idea in Conscious Brands, that how we do anything is how we do everything.
Right.
They were already on board with that. It doesn't matter. Jeff of Dharma Merchant Services likes to say, it doesn't matter what you do, it's just how you do it. So they wanted some real tangible tools of how to implement that in a daily practice with their employees. And actually, Dharma sought out Sacred Commerce and then reached out to me. And then we joined together to promote and implement the tools into the daily practices of Dharma. What resulted was this shared commitment to what we were creating. We saw that it worked. And so when we reached out to others to employ them, we were straight. Because the beautiful thing about Sacred Commerce is it's all built on authenticity, and workability. If it's not authentic and if it's not workable, what's the point? So we would be authentic with the people that we hired. And we would say, we like to think of ourselves as a company who services and gives love and also happens to provide merchant services.
Right. Okay, I understand that. Nice. So you and Erin are coming up and doing this 2-day workshop in Calgary, Edmonton, and Nelson. Mm-hmm. As someone who is not experienced with Sacred Commerce or is a notion of Sacred Commerce, what can they expect in this 2-day workshop?
So what Sacred Commerce offers and what we hope to offer in these workshops is the idea that business can have a pass, a quadruple bottom line. The business can be profitable, it can be dedicated to the awakening of its employees and its customers, it can be dedicated to sustainability and social responsibility or service. So in the arena of what we in America call green business, there's a lot of questions about how. Okay, great. We can recycle, we can compost, we can work on our lighting. But how do we do that with each other? How do we implement practices that actually work to clean, awaken, take care of these relationships? So Sacred Commerce is about the how. It's about how do you work within a relationship to bring the level of your company or community or collaborative group, to bring that level of sustainability up and into your people.
Wow. I love that. So, no, this isn't just for business owners. It's for people that are in all types of, we all work. And it's for anyone or pretty much everyone that's in any level of an organization. Would that be fair to say, or is this just for business owners?
So sacred commerce is the business aspect, but this work is pervasive. And as we spoke about earlier, you practice sacred commerce in your business, and it can't help but trickle into your life. You can't help but bring it home and share it with your wife and your family and your community, and that's how it spreads.
I love that. So for anyone who may be sitting on the fence and saying, I don't know if it's for me, what would you say to them, Yebuny?
I love that question. I would say that to all of you people that are skeptical, thank you for questioning. Thank you for being skeptical. Thank you for being on the fence. The fence is a great place to be. All that I'm offering here and all that we're offering here through Sacred Commerce is another view. It may work for your life, it may not. But the only way that you're going to know is if you try it on. So in Sacred Commerce, what we say is just pick the coat up and put it on for a little while. And if you don't like it, you can always take it back off and put it back on the rack. But either way, I think that the benefits of being open-minded and going into a situation with that mindset will benefit you regardless. And I would love to meet you.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure a lot of people will love to meet you and Aaron and just be part of the experience. And I'm so excited that you're going to be in Calgary, Edmonton and Nelson. So thank you so much, Yebuny. And if people want more information, they can just go to the Facebook group and come to one of the intro sessions or just come for the weekend. It's all going to be super amazing. So thank you again so much.
Thank you, Rob. This has been wonderful.